never bothered me, even if he was difficult to meet with me or anything. He would turn on a dime and be just adorable the next second.
Carol Burnett, the brain behind The Carol Burnett Show, has made waves in Hollywood for her comic acting genius and has moved on to build a really successful career in the industry. She battled several obstacles in her way and pushed boundaries that allowed her to become one of the best at what she does. Along the line, she made some amazing collaborations with people like Harvey Korman, who have helped her build her brand to the level that it is today. However, the journey hasn't been all that smooth, as they have had periods that they had fallouts. One of these even led to Harvey being fired from the show. Join us as we explore the events that led up to this sad turnout of events. Carol was born into the family of Joseph Thomas Burnett and Ina Louise Creighton, both of whom are no strangers to the entertainment industry. It was through them that Carol got to build her interests and has moved on to become one of the most recognized faces in Hollywood. Her father had a job managing a movie theater and her mother worked as a publicity writer for movies. They were both pretty taken by their jobs, but found time to build a family together. Carol Burnett was born on April 26, 1933 in San Antonio, Texas, into this family, and soon got to earn her fair share of both the glamour and the ugly side of Hollywood. As a way to cope with the pressures of the entertainment industry, her parents were soon taken by alcohol, which greatly changed the outlook of Carol's childhood. Consequently, she spent a lot of time with her grandmother, Mabel Eudora White, who played a significant role in her upbringing. From a very young age, Carol started to show signs of what would later become her career, as she was often seen making skits that she shared with family and friends. This helped her develop some of the traits that would help her survive in the industry and also helped her hone her skills. Her end goal at the time was just to make people laugh. Carol, despite everything, took her education seriously. She attended Hollywood High School, where she kept her dream to become an actor alive. She took part in school plays and was getting better at her craft. Later on, she moved on to the University of California, Los Angeles in 1951, where she almost deviated from her path, wanting to pursue a degree in journalism. However, driven by passion, she sought the help of her professors in switching to theater arts and English. While at UCLA, she took every opportunity to feature in student productions, which helped her brush up her acting skills, in preparation for what was to come, though she may not have known that yet. Now, so many look back at Carol's life and admire her desire to push on, despite the challenges that she might have faced in early life. She has become a role model for people seeking to take up a career in acting, as her life hints at starting off as early as possible. Her future endeavors were even filled with bold decisions, which turned out to work in her favor. Just after she graduated from UCLA in 1954, she was faced with the dilemma of staying within her comfort zone and making a bigger move, which will certainly be filled with so many uncertainties. She decided to go with the latter, making the decision to leave Los Angeles and move to New York City. She had no one in New York at the time, and just hoped that her skills would find her something to fall back on in no time. She was only 21 at the time and was ready to take on the world. Considering the setting of the big city was in stark contrast with what she was used to, it was evident that Carol was up against something that was likely beyond her control. With very little money and no job prospects, she braced for the challenges that were to come. While in New York, she took up jobs that would help her cater for herself, while she waited for her big break. She even worked as a hat check girl while she attended auditions by the side, seeking to make her break into the industry. She soon found out that her loud and vivacious character posed a problem, as the talent hunts at the time were on the lookout for females with feminine, glamorous personalities. So she faced many rejections at this early stage. Carol, already equipped with a strong resolve, didn't allow these rejections to define her or discourage her from her dreams. She continued to push her luck, and things eventually started to change for her. Her break into the industry came with a casting in a revue called the Rehearsal Club Revue, which was no big deal, but Carol reorganized that it was a necessary first step. Following her performance, she soon started to get more gigs and had her first television break in 1955, when she featured in The Paul Winchell Show, where she mixed her comic talents with musicals, earning her admiration in the industry. She continued to work really hard to make herself seen, and took these initial opportunities as a stepping stone towards that. She started featuring in other small television roles and off-Broadway productions, honing her skills for even bigger roles. She soon, however, reached a turning point in her career in 1957 when she was cast in the Broadway musical Once Upon a Mattress. Her performance in this production really shot her into the spotlight, earning her a Tony Award nomination. Her comic skills were in full display, and she got the very opportunity she needed to prove herself to her audience. After her role in this production, people started to look beyond her loud and vivacious character and saw the potential that lay within her. They started to see this character as unique. Having proved herself with her ability to retain an audience, and people were now willing to give her a shot in even bigger projects. This was how she found herself securing roles in bigger shows like The Gary Moore Show. Her stay on the show lasted from 1959 to 1962 and allowed her the chance to build her own personal brand, where she blends a sharp wit with physical humor. She started experimenting by taking up different characters, and each one turned out to be funnier than the last one, and her popularity continued to grow. One of her most successful outings was with I Made a Fool of Myself over John Foster Dulles, which showed a teen girl who had a crush on the then Secretary of State. This performance resonated with her audience, and people wanted to see more of Carol. The 1960s started to look very promising for Carol, who has now become a household name. Her participation in some of these earlier small shows paved the way for her to start her own television specials, like Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall in 1962, where she partnered with Julie Andrews to create engaging content for their audience. Both actresses performed so well in the show, which earned them both an Emmy Award. With the continued growth, Carol's prominence within Hollywood was starting to be felt by everyone, and this was soon to bring her one of the greatest opportunities that she had in her career. By 1967, CBS became interested in her acting skills and offered her a slot for her own show, which birthed The Carol Burnett Show. This show turned out to be the biggest project that Carol would ever run in her life, as it was a huge success. The show became a hit in no time and would go on to run for 11 seasons, earning her and her team multiple awards that showcased their ever-growing talent. What made The Carol Burnett Show such a success was Carol's ability to break boundaries, throwing herself into the characters and sparing no chance to portray them as funny and as silly as she could. Whether she was playing the dim-witted but lovable Mrs. Wiggins, the glamorous yet clumsy Norma Desmond, or the iconic role of Scarlett O'Hara in the parody Went with the Wind, Carol brought each character to life with humor and heart. People admired her dedication, and this attracted the views she needed to make her show a success. Carol's development over the years points to her courage to face the unknown and the will to fight against every obstacle that she had in the wake of her career. The Carol that we know today is a lot different from the one that left Los Angeles to New York, poised to make all her dreams come true. She has grown to become a very influential figure in the industry and has left her mark for generations to come to look back to. Today, The Carol Burnett Show stands out as one of the most iconic shows in television history. Carol didn't make the show what it is today with just her talent. The show has seen quite a number of celebrity appearances and significant collaborations, all targeted at making sure that the show reaches the desired audience. As her brainchild, she was deeply involved in every part of the show's production and never allowed anything that would compromise the reputation that she had built over the years. In a bid to ensure the continued success of the show, she made collaborations with people like Harvey Korman, who has been part of the show since it started in 1967. They both worked together to ensure the success of the show, and Harvey grew to become one of Carol's most trusted collaborators on the show. Like Carol, he was willing to take up several characters and put in the work that was required to give memorable performances with each episode. He provided some level of comfort for Carol, knowing that she had a capable hand to take care of things, even when she wasn't there. They found a converging point for their differing characters. With Carol always taking the more aggressive and physical role, she contrasted so well with Harvey, who was a lot more reserved than she was. This combination created memorable sketches that audiences adored, such as The Old Folks, where they played an elderly couple, and the famous Mrs. Wiggins sketches, where Harvey played the long-suffering Mr. Tudball opposite Carol's ditzy secretary. Their ability to play off each other's strengths brought out the best in both of them and became a cornerstone of the show's appeal. The more the Carol Burnett show became popular, Carol found herself under more pressure to make sure that they didn't fail their audience at any point. They worked on improving the scripts and even introducing more captivating characters. She paid attention to every step, starting from the script writing, performances, and production of the show. You were sure she wasn't one to take anything that would jeopardize all these efforts from anyone. However, one thing that remains constant with show business is that nothing ever remains the same. There are always too many factors at play, and some are likely to fail at some points. In the later episodes of the show, Carol had a fallout with Harvey following his attitude towards one of their guests on the show. Harvey seemed to be going through a rough patch at the time, and this had influenced his countenance on this very episode. On that episode, Harvey had made some very rude remarks to their guests, which Carol wasn't happy with. Carol believed that the show should reflect their personal values and believed that Harvey was way out of line. Later on, behind the scenes, she cautioned Harvey about the situation, reminding him that everyone has a bad day, but he shouldn't have allowed his to get in the way of business. It was obvious that Carol was very concerned about how the public saw her person and didn't want Harvey to strain that relationship. Following Carol's confrontation, there broke a heated feud between the two, and things got way worse than we expected. One would think that she would let Harvey off with a warning, but it seemed Harvey wasn't going to just take the correction and move on. As a result of the feud, Carol had to make the difficult decision of firing Harvey from the show, despite the fact that they have been together for so long. This goes to show how much Carol cherished professionalism above anything else. With Harvey out of the show, a noticeable void was felt, but she was determined to make things work without him, instead of letting his unprofessionalism slide. She worked hand in hand with the other cast members like Vicki Lawrence and Tim Conway to make things work once again. As you would expect, she was able to get things up and running once more and continued to keep her audience engaged. However, it wasn't only Carol that had a hard time after the separation from the long-term collaboration. Harvey likewise found himself in a huge dilemma. He started to regret his actions and made efforts to keep himself engaged by getting deals and other television appearances. However, nothing seemed as good as what he had with Carol. Eventually, the two will realize that they are meant to work together and will reconcile their differences. Harvey regretted his action and was willing to mend his relationship with Carol. Eventually, Carol reached out to him, and they both resolved their differences. Despite being strict with her values, Carol has also been found to have a soft spot at intervals, and this came into play on the issue. She forgave Harvey and brought him back to the show, where they continued to keep their audience engaged together. The return of Harvey to the Carol Burnett show was a very welcome development by both the audience and the crew. Carol and Harvey had that undeniable chemistry, which everyone had missed during the time that they were apart. With Harvey, the show maintained its growing acceptance and became even more successful than it once was. In the end, Carol Burnett's ability to continuously improve the Carol Burnett show and her leadership in bringing together a talented ensemble cast, including Harvey Korman, were key factors in the show's enduring success. Even after their fallout, the respect and affection that Carol and Harvey had for each other allowed them to overcome their differences and continue making television magic together. The show went on from 1967 to 1978 and had a very successful 11 seasons, placing it as one of the most iconic television shows in history. Young actors in the industry still look back to these moments and have used Carol's story as a map to navigate the very complicated landscape of Hollywood. This is the legacy that Carol has left in the industry. However, when we take a better look at Carol's life, it hasn't been all about success and resilience. She has faced some very heartbreaking situations, one of which is the experience of losing her daughter, Carrie Hamilton, to cancer. This deeply affected Carol, who had so much faith in what her daughter would become. Carol's daughter, Carrie Hamilton, was born on December 5, 1963, to Carol Burnett and her then-husband, Joe Hamilton. Growing up, she developed interests in her mother's craft and was determined to toe the same career path. She was known to feature in some television shows where she honed her skills in acting. However, fate had a different thing in store for her. Carrie was, however, no stranger to personal struggles. As a teenager, she battled drug addiction, which Carol helped her through. They both supported each other, with Carol letting her daughter know that she would be by her side, no matter what. She eventually beat the addiction and focused on building her career. The mother and daughter have even spent time together, working on projects, one of which is a play they co-wrote titled Hollywood Arms, based on Carol's memoir. Things took a turn for the worse in 2001 when Carrie was diagnosed with cancer, which was spreading rapidly within her body. Despite the treatment, the cancer spread to her brain, making the condition a whole lot worse than ever. Knowing the fate that awaited Carrie, Carol was obviously devastated, not knowing how to move on without her. She remained by her side and acknowledged her courage, even in this most trying time. Carol's characteristic resilience helped her through this trying time, helping her remain strong and make the best out of the little time that she had with her daughter. Tragically, Carrie Hamilton passed away on January 20, 2002, at the age of 38. Her death was a devastating loss for Carol, who has often spoken about the deep pain of losing a child. Carol has continued to honor her memory by speaking about her and surely misses her baby. This goes to show that beyond the glamour and the clear hints of success that we see in celebrities, they also have personal struggles, just like every other person. Carol had gotten the support that she needed from her fans and was able to overcome the whole situation. Carol has made the best out of the opportunities that she had in life, building collaborations with people like Harvey Korman. Despite her struggles, the strong legacy that she has built in Hollywood will continue to live long after her. The feud with Harvey also shows that one should ever be committed to principles designed to propel one's career to greater heights and let no one interfere with that. That's it about Carol Burnett and her admirable personality. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we will see you in the next one.